The grand chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with the distinctive resonances of 12 vastly different species. At the center of the quantum-suspended platform, first speaker Talvox's crystalline form refracted light in patterns that conveyed both urgency and concern. Anomaly detected in Sector 2814. Talvox's light speech translated across neural interfaces. A previously contained species has achieved faster-than-light travel using methods our scientists deem theoretically impossible. Holographic displays materialized, showing a small blue-green world orbiting an unremarkable yellow star. Earth, rumbled Kimor, the gelatinous representative of the oldest council race. I remember their preliminary evaluation. Curious creatures, short-lived, violent, creative. The nine-limbed observer Zethkal rose from his gravity pod. I request permission to conduct the formal assessment. My species' adaptive camouflage will allow proper infiltration. 3 solar cycles later, Zethkal walked among humans in the disguise of a visiting diplomat from a fictional Southeast Asian nation. His neurological sampling implants worked overtime as he navigated the bewildering chaos of human civilization. In Moscow, he observed military officers debating poetry while planning defense strategies. In Rio de Janeiro, he documented children playing elaborate games with contradictory, constantly changing rules that somehow remained fair. In Nairobi, he watched engineers repurpose military drones for reforestation projects. Most disturbing were the contradiction patterns. Humans created beauty from destruction. They found strength in acknowledging weakness. They cooperated most effectively when maintaining individuality. Each observation defied the fundamental laws of civilizational development established over 1 million years of council records. On the final day of his assessment, Zethkal stood in the control room of humanity's first FTL prototype. The chief engineer, a woman named Sanjana Kapoor, explained the drive's principles. "We couldn't solve the light-speed barrier mathematically," she said, "so we approached it as a philosophical problem instead. The universe doesn't actually forbid FTL travel, it just forbids acceleration through the light-speed barrier. So we created a quantum bubble that never experiences acceleration at all. The drive exists in all velocity states simultaneously." Zethkal's translation implant faltered, not because it couldn't translate the words, but because the concept violated 16 fundamental axioms of universal physics. Yet the engine worked. The emergency council session convened in a pocket dimension where time flowed differently, allowing for days of deliberation, while mere hours passed in normal space. "My assessment is conclusive." Zethkal's appendages trembled as he delivered his report. "Humans are chaotic beyond measure. They embrace contradictions that would fracture the psyche of any rational species. Their technological development follows no logical progression. They succeed because of traits that should ensure failure." Grand Arbiter Vorax's dark matter form pulsed ominously. "Your recommendation?" "For the first time in my 300-year career, I recommend immediate quarantine without contact. Standard prediction algorithms fail when applied to humans. They are not merely dangerous. They are unpredictable." The vote was unanimous. Within hours, a Class X containment field enveloped Earth's solar system, and a stealth observation complex materialized on Luna's dark side, its technology bending both light and thought to remain undetected. The universe had made its assessment. Humanity would remain contained, studied, and dismissed as a potential threat to cosmic order. The universe had made its first mistake. Commander Elena Chen stood on the observation deck of the _Horizon_, her reflection ghostly against the lunar surface below. 3 years since her excessive creative interpretations had earned her a dishonorable discharge from the United Earth Space Force. 3 years rebuilding her reputation with Artemis Exploration Consortium, a private venture pushing the boundaries of human space exploration. "Commander, we're detecting anomalous energy fluctuations near coordinate NN 437. Lieutenant Park's voice crackled through the comm. "It's unlike anything in our database." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Show me." The holographic display materialized, showing quantum patterns that appeared and disappeared like ghosts. Familiar yet impossible. "That can't be right," she muttered. "Those signatures resemble our FTL harmonic patterns, but distorted. As if." "As if what, Commander?" Park asked. "As if they're being deliberately hidden." Chen's fingers danced across the controls. "Set course for those coordinates." "Commander, we have orders to." "I'm well aware of our orders, Lieutenant. Log my override." 90 minutes later, the _horizon_ drifted silently through a series of micro-wormholes Chen had identified in the lunar gravitational field, natural blind spots in any detection system. What they discovered on the dark side froze her blood. A structure that couldn't exist, geometric impossibilities assembled into a sprawling complex seamlessly integrated with the lunar surface. Its architecture shifted as she watched, adapting to quantum fluctuations no human instrument could detect without the _horizons experimental sensors. "My God," breathed Park. "It's..." A sudden force seized the ship, suspending it in a prismatic beam. "Tractor technology," Chen shouted as alarms blared. "Everyone, emergency protocols." The crew scrambled to stations, but Chen remained still, her mind racing. The beamed harmonics pulsed with a mathematical pattern that resonated with the _horizons shield frequencies. "Not random," she whispered. "It's a Fibonacci sequence variation, just like our shield modulation." Chen made a decision that would change humanity's fate. She reconfigured the ship's resonance engines to create a harmonic cascade precisely calibrated to the alien technology's frequency. Releasing pulse in 3, 2, 1. The _horizon shuddered as energy discharged through its hull. For a terrifying moment, nothing happened. Then the beam flickered as feedback surged through the alien systems. Chen didn't hesitate. She launched a barrage of data-collecting nanobots, medical technology repurposed for infiltration. "We have 90 seconds before their systems reboot," she announced. "Collect everything you can." The nanobots streamed data back to the _horizon as the alien facility's systems temporarily crashed. The most disturbing discovery came accidentally. As the primary cloaking system failed, it revealed 11 other identical facilities positioned strategically throughout the solar system. "They've surrounded us," Park whispered. The data stream suddenly included translation algorithms, security protocols, and most damning of all, the Council's complete assessment of humanity. Chen broadcast a single emergency data package to Earth before spatial distortions began tearing at the _horizons hull. "Get us out of here," she ordered. As the _horizon limped back toward Earth, the data Chen had stolen spread through every communication network simultaneously. Humanity learned in a single moment that they had been judged, contained, and dismissed by a galactic community that considered them too unpredictable to join the cosmic order. The response wasn't panic. It wasn't fear. It was something uniquely human, indignation followed by absolute determination. Within 48 hours, the United Human Response Initiative formed from an unprecedented alliance of former enemies. Their mission wasn't to wage war against advanced alien civilizations. It was something far more ambitious. It was to prove the universe wrong. The Council's emergency session took place in a pocket dimension where time flowed differently, allowing them to deliberate for subjective years, while only hours passed in normal space. The chamber, normally a model of ordered discussion, had devolved into chaos. 7 civilizations, thundered Elder Mokhtar, his gaseous form roiling with crimson anger indicators. 7 previous species evolved along similar cognitive patterns as humans. All 7 eventually threatened galactic stability. Grand Arbiter Vorax's dark matter presence expanded ominously. "The containment has failed. Standard protocol dictates immediate extinction measures." Various extinction scenarios flashed across the dimensional displays. Engineered pathogens, stellar manipulation, nanite disassemblers. The vote seemed inevitable until Council member Xintera, physically the smallest among them, emitted a crystalline light pattern so intense that the chamber fell into stunned silence. "I have analyzed the data from observers ethical and the containment breach," her light speech translated. "Our standard prediction algorithms fail catastrophically when applied to humans." She projected a simulation showing human development curves splitting into impossible fractal patterns that violated probability laws. "They'd break our models. All the more reason to eliminate them," Vorax countered. "Or perhaps," Tintera's crystalline form sparkled, "reason to invoke the 7 crucibles." A murmur spread through the council. The ancient protocol, unused for millennia, was designed to either confirm a species' unworthiness or reveal hidden potential through escalating challenges. Meanwhile on Earth, Commander Chen, now both celebrated hero and potential destroyer of human civilization, stood before the hastily assembled Human Potential Council in Geneva. "We need our best and brightest," she announced. "Not conventional thinkers. We need those who see solutions where others see impossibilities." Her selections shocked the military and scientific establishment. Dr. Amir Khalid, whose unconventional bioremediation techniques using genetically modified fungal networks had restored the Chernobyl exclusion zone in just 5 years, creating a thriving ecosystem where nothing should grow. Wei Zong, the quantum communications prodigy who perceived data as colors and sounds due to an extreme form of synesthesia, allowing her to interact with technology through patterns no one else could perceive. Colonel Bianca Okafor, whose unorthodox battle strategies in the East African resource wars had resulted in the first peace treaty ever signed during active conflict, with 0 casualties in the final 3 months. And Jack Reynolds, a linguist with a rare neurological condition that allowed him to instinctively understand untranslatable languages by experiencing them as emotional states rather than words. "They'll call us crazy," Chen told her team as they gathered. "They'll be right. That's our advantage." When the council's emissary, a being of swirling light and geometric precision, materialized simultaneously in every seat of government worldwide to announce the crucibles, the Human Potential Council was ready. But no one, not even Chen, anticipated Reynolds' response. "We accept your challenge," he said, then added something that had never occurred in council history. "But we request the highest difficulty level permitted by your protocols. If you're going to judge us, judge what we're truly capable of." The emissary's light patterns froze in what could only be interpreted as shock. The universe had made its second mistake. It had given humanity a chance to fight back. The first crucible materialized as a nightmare. Chen's team found themselves transported to Nexus 617, a world the Council had abandoned after 3 centuries of failed terraforming attempts. The atmosphere corroded synthetic materials within hours. The soil crystallized organic compounds on contact. Even Council-designed environmental suits degraded after minimal exposure. 30 solar cycles to create a self-sustaining ecosystem, announced the emotionless Council observer, or forfeit the crucible. While the team's engineers immediately began designing complex atmospheric processors, Dr. Khalid wandered away to study the planet's poisonous microorganisms through rapidly cycling mini-biomes he'd brought from Earth. "This is wrong," he muttered on the 3rd day, studying results through his deteriorating equipment. "The toxic elements aren't random." By the 10th day, the engineer's technology had failed completely, unable to withstand the planet's corrosive environment. Morale plummeted as team members developed radiation sores despite their protective gear. Khalid finally emerged from his makeshift lab, eyes bloodshot but excited. "The planet isn't broken. It's incomplete. These aren't toxins. They're components of an interrupted ecological cycle." His radical proposal shocked everyone. Instead of fighting the toxicity, they would accelerate it using genetically modified Earth extremophiles designed to complete the cycle. The approach initially created catastrophic spikes in toxicity levels, causing Council observers to prepare emergency evacuation. Then, In a cascading reaction that rippled across the planet, the completed cycle began breaking down compounds into forms that supported primitive life. "You kept trying to erase the planet's nature," Khaled explained to stunned council scientists. "We just helped it finish what it was trying to do." The second crucible seemed equally impossible: mediate peace between the insectoid Vrex and gaseous ethereals, whose 4,000-year war had destroyed 18 star systems. Previous negotiators from 12 species were executed by both sides as irrelevant interference. Reynolds made an unprecedented request: temporary infection with modified communication parasites from both species simultaneously. The neurological storm nearly killed him as his brain struggled to process information through smell colors and crystalline thoughts. After 9 days unconscious, Reynolds emerged speaking a hybrid language that physically hurt to pronounce. His breakthrough came when he discovered the fundamental problem. The Vrex experienced time flowing forward, while ethereals experienced it backward, making their languages fundamentally irreconcilable through conventional translation. Working with Zhang, he created a communication system using mathematical music that existed outside temporal direction, enabling instantaneous understanding between the species. When the peace treaty was signed, both species requested permanent human diplomatic presence, the first time in council history that trial subjects became sought-after advisors. As Chen's team returned to the council station between crucibles, they noticed the changing attitudes among alien observers: confusion, reassessment, and in some cases, the first hints of respect. "They expected us to build machines to fix Nexus 617, Chen noted to her team. "Instead, we listened to what the planet was trying to become. And they expected us to impose our understanding on the Vrex and ethereals," Reynolds added. "Instead, we created a new way for them to understand each other." The council watched in growing unease as humanity's perceived inadequacies repeatedly manifested as strengths in contexts where traditional superiority proved limiting. The universe had made its third mistake. It had assumed its standards were universal. As humanity passed the first 2 crucibles, the council fragmented into factions. The records of their closed deliberations, later leaked to humanity, revealed the growing discord. 2 successes proved nothing. Grand Arbiter Vorax's dark matter form pulsed with cold energy. The remaining tests must be beyond mere difficulty. They must be definitively impossible. Xinterra's crystalline structure flashed warning patterns. "You propose to violate the Crucible protocols. They must be challenging but fair." "I propose to be thorough," Vorax countered. "If humans truly possess the potential you claim, they will overcome even impossible obstacles. If not, we confirm their unsuitability." 7 council members agreed with Vorax. 5 opposed. The vote passed. The third crucible transformed into a death trap. Humans must establish real-time communication through the Charybdis Void, a region of space where reality fractured into 11 different dimensional states simultaneously. Previous council attempts resulted in the loss of 3 civilizations' worth of technology and the insanity of 40,000 researchers. Chen's team was given access to a space station at the Void's edge with equipment already showing signs of quantum degradation upon arrival. "Conventional approaches have all failed," Chen told her team. "We need something completely new." Wei Zhang approached the problem differently. Instead of fighting the Void's chaotic nature, she volunteered to directly interface with it. For 17 consecutive days, she connected her synesthetic perception directly to progressively failing equipment, allowing her mind to experience how reality distorted. Her colleagues feared for her sanity until she emerged, eyes bloodshot but clear. "The Void isn't broken," she announced. "It's communicating, not with information, but with pattern relationships." She designed a quantum entanglement network modeled after human neural pathways that didn't try to impose order, but instead adapted to chaos patterns the way human dreams process contradictory information. The solution worked for exactly the reason council scientists predicted it wouldn't. Where logical systems failed, human cognitive inconsistency thrived. Meanwhile, Observer Zethkal secretly returned to Earth for deeper study, taking human form as a university janitor. He witnessed children learning through play, scientists embracing failed experiments as valuable data, and most disturbingly, humans deliberately seeking out challenges rather than comfort. When he observed a composer creating music inspired by mathematics and a mathematician writing equations described as beautiful, he experienced a crisis of understanding. They blur categories that must remain distinct, he reported to his private log. Their minds connect concepts across boundaries that should be impermeable. His unauthorized study caught Vorax's attention. The Arbiter assigned 3 observers to monitor Zethkal, concerned about his growing fascination with human cognition. As Chen's team celebrated their 3rd victory, they received the parameters for the 4th crucible. Colonel Okafor studied them in stunned silence before addressing the team. "This isn't just difficult," she said quietly. "It's a trap designed to force us to either fail or compromise our principles. They want us to prove we're the monsters they believe us to be." The universe had made its 4th mistake. It had underestimated humanity's integrity. The 4th crucible parameters illuminated the holographic display as Colonel Okafor analyzed them with growing concern. "We're to defend an outpost against overwhelming forces while ensuring 0 casualties on either side," she explained to the team. "Standard military doctrine considers this impossible." Chen studied the simulation specs. The attacking force outnumbers defenders 50 to 1, with superior technology and positional advantage. No species has ever passed this test. Because it's designed to fail, Okafor concluded. Either we lose the outpost or we're forced to use lethal measures. Either outcome confirms their assessment of human inadequacy or violence. For 7 days, Okafor ran variations of conventional defense strategies, each ending in either defeat or bloodshed. On the 8th day, she approached the problem differently. "We can't win conventionally," she told the team. "So we'll use unconventional psychology instead." Her strategy involved reconfiguring the outpost's environmental systems to broadcast specific electromagnetic frequencies that induced mild disorientation. Not harmful, but enough to create hesitation. She then programmed the defensive systems to project holographic terrain that exploited the attacker's evolutionary instincts, creating psychological barriers more effective than physical ones. "Every species has instinctive responses," she explained. "By studying their biology, we can predict and influence behavior without causing harm." The simulation began. Initially, Okafor's strategy worked brilliantly. The attacking force hesitated, separated, and lost cohesion without a single casualty. Victory seemed imminent. Then, without warning, the parameters shifted. Attack patterns changed, technology instantly adapted to the electromagnetic frequencies, and holographic countermeasures appeared. The scenario had been secretly modified mid-simulation. "They're cheating," John whispered, monitoring the program's code. "Someone's altering the parameters to ensure we fail." Chen made her decision instantly. "Stand down," she ordered. "Cease all defensive actions." "But, Commander, we surrender the outpost." The simulation ended with the outpost captured, registered as a technical failure. But Chen demanded an immediate audience with the Council. "We identify the parameter changes," she announced, standing tall before the assembled Council. "We chose to lose rather than resort to lethal force when faced with deliberate sabotage. If proving our restraint means failing your test, then we embrace that failure." Silence fell across the chamber until Observer Zethkal stepped forward unexpectedly. "As official witness, I must report violation of Crucible protocols," he announced. The simulation was altered by unauthorized intervention. Grand Arbiter Vorax's dark matter form pulsed menacingly. "You overstep, Observer." "I fulfill my sworn duty to objectivity," Zethkal countered, displaying the undeniable evidence of tampering. Humans chose principled defeat over compromising their values when faced with an impossible choice forced upon them through deception. The Council erupted into chaos. Half supported continuing the trials fairly. Half, led by Vorax, demanded immediate termination of the experiment and reinstatement of quarantine. With the council deadlocked, Synterra invoked an ancient protocol. When standard crucibles cannot resolve assessment, we must implement the final challenge. The paradox of Vexillon. The chamber fell silent. No species had ever solved the legendary paradox in 1,000 generations. The universe had made its fifth mistake. It had pushed humanity into a corner, not realizing that humans perform best when all hope seems lost. The paradox of Vexillon materialized as a multidimensional construct before Chen's team, a problem that had stumped the greatest minds across 1,000 worlds for millennia. Prevent cascading quantum collapse in an unstable star system. Chen read from the briefing, while preserving all conservation laws. Earth's greatest physicists and mathematicians joined the effort remotely. Quantum simulations ran continuously, each ending in either stellar destruction or fundamental paradoxes that violated physical laws. 7 days passed without progress. The constraints are mutually exclusive. Dr. Hernandez, Earth's leading theoretical physicist, concluded in frustration. You cannot preserve conservation of energy while preventing the collapse. It's mathematically impossible. As the core team argued theoretical approaches, Maya Patel, a 22-year-old art student who'd been recruited as part of the support staff, quietly studied the holographic representation from different angles. "Excuse me," she finally interrupted, her voice hesitant. "Has anyone considered that this might not be a math problem at all?" The room fell silent as Maya approached the hologram. "In my visual perception class, we study how the brain can be tricked by optical illusions. This reminds me of an Escher drawing. It looks impossible because we're viewing it from a single perceptual framework." She rotated the model. "See how the equations shift depending on perspective? What if the paradox isn't in the math, but in how we're perceiving the problem itself?" Her insight sparked a radical approach. Instead of seeking this single, elegant equation, the team reconceptualized the problem as a perceptual one requiring simultaneous, coordinated actions across multiple dimensions. Maya worked with the quantum physicists to develop a solution based on distributed perception, multiple observers making synchronized adjustments from different reference frames, each seeing a different part of the solution that would appear contradictory in isolation. Like a team of blindfolded people describing different parts of an elephant, Maya explained. None has the complete picture, but together they can understand the whole. As they prepared to implement their solution in the council's simulation, alarm signals flashed through the system. "Intrusion detected," Zhang announced, fingers flying across controls. "Someone's introducing a virus into the simulation framework." Chen didn't hesitate. Split into 2 teams. Half continue with the solution, half counter the virus. What followed was a masterclass in human adaptability. As the virus corrupted predictable pathways, the team continuously improvised new approaches, treating the sabotage itself as part of the challenge rather than a separate problem. Maya coordinated from the center, directing adjustments as team members reported changing conditions from their different perceptual positions within the simulation. 3 degrees left in quantum space, Dr. Hernandez. Zhang, shift your reference frame to compensate for temporal distortion. The solution unfolded not as a single action, but as a symphony of coordinated micro-adjustments, continuously adapting to both the paradox and the ongoing sabotage. As the final pieces aligned, the simulation showed something unprecedented. The quantum collapse stabilized, conservation laws preserved, while the virus itself was incorporated into the solution as a balancing factor. The star system glowed in stable equilibrium. "Impossible," whispered the council observer. "No," Chen corrected with a smile. "Just impossible for anyone thinking from a single perspective." The universe had made its 6th mistake. It had presented a problem requiring multiple viewpoints to a species whose very nature embraced cognitive diversity. The council chamber fell into profound silence as the simulation displayed humanity's solution, succeeding where all others had failed for millennia. The star system glowed in stable equilibrium, defying what countless civilizations had deemed mathematically impossible. Even Vorax's dark matter form remained still, unable to deny the evidence before the council. Synterra was the first to speak, her crystalline form radiating patterns of acknowledging respect. In 10 million cycles of governance, the council has never witnessed such an approach to the Vexillon paradox. You did not merely solve it, you reconceptualized the nature of the problem itself. That's what humans do, Chen replied simply. We don't see problems as fixed entities. We see them as perspectives that can be shifted. Grand Arbiter Vorax's form contracted slightly. One exceptional result does not erase humanity's dangerous unpredictability. Observer Zethkal stepped forward. With respect, Grand Arbiter, I must formally amend my original assessment. His 9 limbs performed the ritual gesture of significant reconsideration. What I identified as human flaws, their emotional variability, diverse approaches, stubborn persistence, and willingness to challenge established thinking, proved to be their greatest strengths. In each crucible, these traits enabled solutions no single framework consciousness could conceive. The council members communicated in rapid exchanges of light, chemical signatures, gravitational ripples, and quantum fluctuations, debating faster than any human could follow. Finally, Synterra addressed the human team. The council's vote is 8-4 in favor of recognizing humanity and offering membership in the galactic community. Chen raised an eyebrow. And the containment field around our solar system will be dismantled immediately, Synterra confirmed. The council created a new classification for Earth, Divergent Innovators, acknowledging that humanity's unique evolutionary path produced cognitive approaches fundamentally different from other advanced species. 3 months later, the first human embassy opened on the council homeworld. Chen stood on its observation deck, watching the swirling quantum singularity that powered the entire megastructure. Zethkal joined her, now comfortable in his natural 9-limbed form. Your species has accomplished in months what took others centuries. Already your diplomatic suggestions have resolved 3 long-standing conflicts by reframing the problems. Chen smiled. We've had a lot of practice resolving our own conflicts. Sometimes the greater perspective comes from having experienced many failures. The council has asked me to lead a new assessment team, Zethkal continued. We've discovered another unusual species in Sector 4722. Evolutionary divergent like humans, but in different ways. They've been deemed problematic and recommended for containment. Let me guess, Chen said. You'd like a human perspective on the assessment. Precisely. The universe's biggest mistake wasn't just underestimating humanity, Zethkal replied. It was failing to recognize that different paths of development create unique cognitive frameworks, each with its own value. As they looked out at the stars, the quantum singularity pulsed with new patterns, adjusting to accommodate human ways of thinking as Earth scientists began collaborating on council technology. What do you think the future holds for humanity among the stars? Zethkal asked. Chen watched as a ship departed for Earth, carrying council representatives eager to learn from human diversity. I think we'll do what we've always done, she answered. Challenge assumptions, ask uncomfortable questions, find connections others miss, and teach the universe that perspective is everything. The universe had made its final mistake. It had assumed that its understanding was complete. Humanity would ensure it never made that mistake again.